anybody sing the higher bass part in choir? I don't know anybody.
Like, what do you mean by higher bass?
Well,
that's an oxymoron.
The
right?
upper bass part. Tanner does? Because John Hatch used to do it.
You said tenor. That's
tenor. Yeah, sorry. Upper bass.
Yeah, upper bass that's a oxymoron, right? That's what do.
All right, let's get this show started.
We already did. We already started.
Welcome to the podcast. I am David. This is Beau. This is...
Oh, I can't introduce myself?
You can introduce yourself.
No. Good. Continue on. Go ahead.
Around the room, we have our famous dude mascot here. Behind the camera, we got Haven.
Yeah, put him up there so you can say hi.
Oh, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Quit hogging up the airtime, dude.
Yeah, no. Haven, put him up on your lap. What are you doing? We have Miss Haven behind the camera.
The camera working the...
What was that? Did you just...
Oh, sorry. Oh, shut up.
Thank you. That's a little more professional.
Wow, so much love. At the beginning of the podcast, so much love.
So, is this profile on there?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't have a warranty on that phone, dude, so you're going to break the camera.
Hey, you better not be
right.
insinuating that dog's ugly, because he's a beautiful man. What's that? Whom? You. Me?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, bless his
Why
heart.
can't David Scootin? Why do I have to do all of the
the work? Wow. 1 inch.
Why do I have to do all the compromise in this relationship?
It's the most work you did all day today.
Yeah, I only woke up at 3:30 in the morning.
3:30.
Got back at 4 o'clock, David, and I guess I've only done that 1 inch moving was my only work today. Yeah,
I meant around the house.
picked it. That's not true. I came home and Haven and I went on a walk.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we took Fat Dude.
I found a dead snake. Dad didn't let me take it home.
Yeah, we took Fat Dude and Fat Cooper out on a walk. Shout out to Brother Schweinhart's Fat Dog Cooper.
Oh, Cooper.
Took the two out on a walk. So I've actually done quite a bit today. David. Thank you very much.
Good.
And just to have you call me out on that I'm lazy.
All right. I put together a furniture set for my balcony.
Did you?
Yeah, so it's nice.
Really proud of you.
It's wicker.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say?
It's wicker. Hard R. Wicker.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. I was just clarifying for anybody that may or may not be watching.
If I said Wicca, that would be like, here we get an intervention. This guy.
This is being cropped out.
Yeah.
Wicca.
Why do you keep saying that? Okay. Every 2 seconds, you're like, this is getting cropped out. This will not be very long.
It's all right. We're just warming up.
This will be like a 10-minute podcast.
Yeah.
Haven's cropped everything out from start to finish. So.
The only thing in it is a dude.
It's just his face. That's all, just a part.
That's it.
People are like,
That's the episode.
What's this podcast about? Dude's floating head comes by. Well, it is handsome, so that's all right. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you got some wicker furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
What sort of? A couple of chairs and a table? Or
Yeah, a couple chairs and a table, just a little 3-piece thing. It was amazing because it was a box like this big by this big, probably 2 feet by 3 feet. And everything fit in there, even the cushions. I was surprised. They just...
You just blew my mind right now.
Dude, they packed everything, and I was like, whoa. And then they hog-tied it with those plastic strips thing. Yeah. It took me like 3 hours to put it together.
Oh, they just came wrapped up.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
And
it still took him 3 hours.
well, I thought about this, and I thought, I live upstairs, and I don't like carrying stuff upstairs because I'm afraid I'm going to fall. And I'm too prideful to ask for help for people, so I just have it delivered because then I have the delivery person walk it upstairs. I don't mind putting it together. I just don't want to have to drag it pre-made all the way upstairs.
You know what? And
plus, I don't have a car either. To
then you're insulting me about moving an inch. And, you can't even carry stuff upstairs.
I know. I guess you're right.
I carry stuff all day for work, just so you know, too.
I know you do with the dolly.
Hey, and do you want a microphone? Is this what... Because it seems like you got a lot to interject, but then...
yeah.
if you need a little microphone back there to interject your little...
About you guys.
What? We're conversing with each
We're
other
just
at the moment in time.
This is all part of it.
Yeah,
This
this is us.
Yeah.
I don't know why
This might be.
What's your name?
I know, but here's the thing. This episode might be for our other podcast, not for the Faith Odyssey one.
What do you? No, if it was for that, we'd have the tapestry right here.
Yeah.
If it's for the movie one, you know,
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah,
tapestry
that
like
movie
of
was
different
cool.
things. Okay, you should
Dude, that
just
hat
like
looked good. The flat bill.
it. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
I did like that.
I like that. Right. Haven, if you want to know, it's a flat bill with our little logo. On
We
the
were
front of
looking
it.
at merch online. Well, Beau was to put our logo on
Yeah.
and found a flat bill hat, which actually looked really good.
Yeah.
I thought the T-shirt looked really good too, but
Well, the t-shirt's fine too, but
Oh.
the hat is orange and black, buddy. You know, your alma mater, your little place. Your
good.
the
It looked
Beavers.
a different orange. I had to look at it closely because it looked kind of red, but it could have been.
Well,
my,
it could have been your glasses.
Could have been my
Yeah,
glasses.
those dark.
I just
those
got.
dark glasses.
They're progressive, so this light down here.
Oh yeah,
but
progressive. Gross.
They're prescription. I got tired of being in my car, and I have transition lenses, but they don't work in your car because of the
progressive and transition.
UV
lenses, so-
protection.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So I just got these so I can wear them in my car and not have to squint it. It's been nice actually. I don't even notice that it's dark inside or that I have them on, but
Well, I notice.
I know.
Yeah.
You notice those.
Yeah, you
types.
tell because that hat bill you said looked red, so clearly there's something going on.
Well, I had the other ones on, but
Oh,
the other glasses
okay.
on.
Well, that's worse.
Yeah,
Huh?
Wears his sunglasses at night.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I wear my sunglasses and
So I can.
yeah. So what is this podcast?
Yeah, what is it? It's just us together talking about stuff that we like talking about or that we're interested in. You know, the Faith Odyssey one, we're interested in people's odyssey of faith throughout their lives, their testimony. I think it's a great one.
So I think this is this an introduction for the Faith Odyssey and funeral potatoes. Don't
And
forget the
I keep forgetting.
funeral potatoes.
I didn't have time to make some today, but I think we should bring.
Because of the wicker.
Yeah, because of the wicker. Yeah,
You know, you could have done it both at the same time. You know, come on.
I know I could have.
It's
But-
you know, we have funeral potatoes in the name, and a nice plate of funeral potatoes right here would have
Oh
done.
man, I love funeral
Would have
potatoes.
been, and then we would have this ridiculous aloe plant
Yeah,
Hey,
what the
that's
heck?
my baby.
that Haven provided
Yeah.
for us.
Talk a bunch of crap about this. Nice baby.
I mean, it's off center a little.
Looks
bit.
neglected.
Yeah.
You know what?
Do better, Haven.
Yeah, come on, hey.
I'm cropping you out right here. So, David, that's an interesting name.
Yes.
Faith Odyssey and
Faith Odyssey funeral
potatoes.
Yeah.
Why would someone name their podcast that? You know, if you had to guess.
Why would they name it that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think because it's a brilliant name that we both came up with.
What?
Or actually, we all came up with it as a family kind of thing.
Yeah. That's your answer though.
Well, no, I just think part of it's we want to know about their journey in church, and then we also kind of want to know some light stuff about them too. The funeral potato part is the social part that we all get together as Latter-day Saints, and a lot of those events, ward events, stake events, and sometimes when you're visiting other areas and you get invited to those events as well. Those are really cool and really special. I mean, we could have called it green jello, or
Yeah, that
I think
was
that came up.
That did come up.
That was one of them.
That
But
did
I
come
think
up.
funeral potatoes is better,
green
just
green
'cause-
jello salad.
Yeah, green jello salad podcast. It just seemed a little too, I don't know. I think funeral potatoes just a little bit better. It hits with everybody. It's kind of recognizable as Latter-day Saints, and
Yeah.
if not, then somebody knows somebody that probably is
Yeah.
Latter-day Saint that brought some of that to their house as a.
Yeah, I like the idea. I mean, I like
As a
Faith
meal.
Odyssey. I think Faith Odyssey was like the one that really caught my
Yeah,
eyes. Something that
Yeah.
even though Haven can't spell Odyssey,
that's okay.
which is difficult in the picture that she was trying to create.
Just sound it out.
Just sounded. Yeah, I heard Haven in the other room. Odyssey, and then it ended up with like 5 S's.
Wow.
It's like, how does this happen? So
You're not getting the picture anymore.
what?
You're not getting need to do.
It's all right.
You
We'll commission
You
somebody else.
surely threaten a lot, even. You know what I mean? This is
We'll commission somebody else.
this is what we have to deal with here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Faith Odyssey being, I think you summed it up nicely, and I like your metaphor for the faith potatoes. Understand that. I think mostly the faith potatoes were just like a recognizable like LDS,
Yeah,
like sort
for
of
sure.
thing, but like I said, is in terms of it's the idea. It's a kind of social in terms of you think about getting together with other Latter-day Saints and coming together, and then you said steak, and then I was hungry because I want some steak. You said that, so that was how fast and I think so too in terms of what we want to accomplish. Sister Huxford sent hers the other day, her recipe, so
Oh, good.
and this is what an idea of getting everyone's family recipe together to make a cookbook,
Sure.
to put it out there. So for the ward to have that option, just to feel more connected with one another, and try those things out. And I think that's ultimately right.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
connection.
Once I can't remember if it was the beginning of this year or when the ward merged. Somehow somebody over the pulpit said, they want us to get to know each other better. And,
Yeah.
And I don't know other than like holiday events that we've all kind of gotten together
Yeah.
or as a social group. Maybe some of these break the fast, but even then they're not even that well attended.
Yeah.
Because I go, wow, I know there's a lot more people. Even this last time, it was slim pickings. This last Sunday.
But that's more food for you. That's good.
No, I just I didn't even. I had to cover
More funeral potato. Is that the battery?
Yeah.
And we're back.
And we're back. Socrates. I love that episode. Yeah.
On SNL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was with Ben Affleck.
If you don't get easily offended, watch that one.
Yeah. That was at the end. I'm like, oh, what are they doing?
It's my man Sanji.
They're from different tribes or same village.
Yeah. Well, it's funny to us.
Yeah, it's funny to
yes,
us.
yes,
But like I was saying, somebody in the pulpit said it would be nice for the ward to get to know each other. And I just thought this is another way, maybe a passive way to get to know each other. Maybe some people are maybe don't know how to approach, shy. I don't know. Or they just feel better about listening this way. Not everybody has to share or participate, but I just think it's something that is fun for us to get to know each other. I like hearing people's testimonies. I mean, it strengthens my testimony, and it's definitely been helping me out since we started. I don't know about you.
No, I will say that I think it was probably, like 3 or 4 years ago that we're like, hey, man, we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, well, about what?
Right, right.
And there's lots of different things, and like to do certain ones that are not so ethical. I don't know.
Not so religious.
Yeah.
It's not pious.
Some other, sort of things that we enjoy. But I will say, like, I think it was a little over a year ago, because I listened to other LDS podcasts.
Oh, yeah,
quite a
you're
bit
right.
during the day, and I just, and they all do a similar thing, which is good. They have their own niche, whatever, whatever you want to say. Like with certain things, some of them it's just Second Coming, some of them it's Book of Mormon, where it took place. Some of it's just Last Dispensation, just a little more broad topic. But they all kind of they all do the same thing, and they all interview the same people, and stuff, and which is cool. But there's just seems like it's just market for these people. It's just you pass one guy off to the next interviewer and stuff like that, and which is great. I will say. I mean, it's
good information,
very educational and stuff too.
Exposes it to a lot of people. Yeah,
but I was thinking, I'm like, okay, well, it'd be cool to do that because I'm super interested, as you know, from the other ones in Second Coming and Book of Mormon stuff. I'm super interested where I took, but I'm like, okay, well, people already do that. So how is it that what's something that we can do within the LDS culture, you know what I mean, that's not the same as those things. And it came to me one day, and it's for like a year now I've been thinking, man, that'd be really cool just to interview just us normal people in the ward, trying to survive in this
Sure.
life, about who they are, about where they came from, and about their spiritual journey, and like you said, about so they can bear their testimony, and we can, feel that and grow together. And
Sure.
So
I just wanted us to get. I wanted to get the setup, and I just wanted us to hit record and start talking. I didn't really care what it was, because I know
yeah,
every time you and I get around together to talk to each other, it's a fun time, or we end up somehow going off on all these different types of tangents about things that we like similar things, which is really good. But I just think we approach them differently.
yeah. We also
which is-
like things, not the same things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like AI. He doesn't like AI.
Yeah, don't even.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we
Let's
go.
get started.
Okay, God.
I'm
I'm
a 9/11 conspiracy person. He's not. I know who shot JFK. He doesn't.
Hold on, that's not even
Okay.
remotely true. Okay, that's there's clearly some stuff.
I
but-
study the occult. He doesn't study the occult.
No, I do not. No, but no, and absolutely, and I just think that so the idea has festered in my head, and I'm just like,
Yeah, it's a great idea. though.
one day, and I think David and I were just like, okay, well, what now?
Yeah.
and then I don't even know. This happened pretty fast. In
It
terms
did,
Of like,
yeah.
okay, let's just start doing it, and we started doing it, and so this is just kind of our.
And
Will be our first. This will be our first
Sure.
episode that I guess that we put out, so people kind of.
And if it gets national, that's fine. But really, it's for the people in our ward,
Yeah.
really, which I think is great. Even that viewership there alone, I think they'll hear it. Their family will hear it. And so I just think that
Yeah.
it'll be expanded out. I mean, we already have people, from that used to be in the ward listening to it, or just
Yeah.
giving us critiques and stuff, or so. That's always good that we have people out there that either moved out of the ward or maybe thinking about moving into the ward.
I think it'd be kind of cool to have like a live episode, like on Sundays. You know what I mean? If
yeah.
people are watching and then they can ask questions, like they're like, "You're interviewing somebody," and then
yeah,
they,
we can set that up.
Haven can be back there and receive a question on the computer. Be like, "Oh, hey, ask Allison what you're doing,
Yeah.
about this in Yemen or whatever."
I wonder.
else.
Yeah, that was cool. The Yemen story. I've always liked
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say we've already done 3 episodes.
We have,
but
yeah.
We haven't put them out yet, but this is just kind of our recap of how we kind of got
We're shooting
here.
these out of. We're kind of recording these out of order, but which is fine. It all makes sense as you
Yeah.
listen on. But
But I think that'd
that-
be cool. A
yeah.
live episode, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
A few,
Um,
I mean, you want it. I think that's how kind of the, people do it. They do these live episodes that,
Mm-hmm.
people
I know there's
chat.
people on YouTube. They'll YouTube live it,
Yeah.
and then
exactly.
people asking questions like that. There's
Yeah.
that way.
Well, I was listening to one today, but it was about the Seahawks.
Oh,
So I do like sports. So it was about the Seahawks. So I think that was pretty cool. I think that would be kind of a cool idea. I mean,
Yeah.
If you could get enough people, because it's like a Sunday thing and a spiritual thing. So I mean,
Sure.
people could, enjoy that. But I think that's part of it too, because everyone that I've told in the ward has been super excited about it.
yeah.
Just about like, that'd be great to hear and listen to this. And that would be, just cool. And I think they're all excited to be on it and to tell their story. I mean, people want to tell their story. and people-
Absolutely.
so I just think that that's really cool. And it'll be fun just to try to help some of these older people to figure out how to get podcasts.
Right. Yeah. Can't get a podcast on the jitterbug. Dang it, I don't know.
yeah. So, this old radio here.
Oh,
is
yeah,
not gonna
right
get
here.
Your, not gonna
Just
get
hit
your,
that and download it. There you
Can
go.
you take this to my podcast,
Yeah.
please? So
It's
I know.
Bluetooth.
yeah. So, and I was saying because I was telling an older lady about it. She's like, I've never even heard a podcast. How do I get those? So they'll be like, we'll show you. You know what I mean? But that's just the kind of the really cool part about it.
Just teaching people like that. Yeah. It's kind of like in family history when you teach people family history and that don't know how to do it or whatever. You're just kind of teaching them new technology that's
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah. The only hard part is, I guess, in terms of, expanding beyond this is like, okay, well, we know our ward and it's real confined in this
Mhm.
area. So it's like, okay, why getting people beyond that to listen to it is, that's the more like in terms of what you're saying. Eventually, man, that'd be
Sure.
kind of cool. But
Well, what I think more than just the content, I think it's just the characters that we are.
Yeah.
I'm not a character. I mean, this is really who I am. That's really who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really like that in real life, you know?
Oh,
And
hold on. What is that?
You know what I
I'm just trying to
mean?
figure out what that.
You know how he is, everybody. No.
yeah. This guy.
No, but I just think a lot of people, I mean, I think that's going to be the thing that people will,
Yeah.
they want to go, I want to see what this guy's, because there's people on the internet, like, you know, just people on the internet or on the web. And I go, I mean, I listen to some they said, but I want to just listen to them say stuff,
Yeah.
you know, because maybe they pronounce it differently or even they just have a different philosophy. And or they even like you just make a joke every 2 seconds about everything.
And the hard part is trying to keep it appropriate.
I know it is.
And that's the thing about it, because like for me, I love gospel. I love that stuff. I'm just you know, and I try to live the life the best, but I do say inappropriate things. And it's just
well, so do I, because even I got you a couple times and you were like, yeah, no, that's not. I go, it's a joke, man. Then I go, oh, I can't even say inappropriate things around Beau. That's crazy.
well, then if I said that to you, then clearly I was messing with you.
Oh, okay.
No. So and that's what, but it was just it's just an interesting concept. And
Having to censor yourself, or just
no, I don't like that part.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
you know, but it's good for me to figure it out and to, you know, be able to. But I do very much enjoy that, and I enjoy. I will say this: I so enjoy going to church. You know, with the people that are in our ward.
Absolutely,
I really
yeah.
do, and I
do too.
And I enjoy the older people in the ward that have gotten to know, and other people. So it's just I really genuinely like being there, and just the 3 people that we've interviewed, it's been really cool. I mean, just truly getting to know them, not in a fake way, but in a real organic way, even though like we write the questions down. But,
sure.
But the way that they've answered and the things that they've gone through, and the only hard part is like keeping it to under 2 hours.
I know,
and that's the hard part. When I first thought about them, like, how long are we going to be able to do it for? Like,
remember I told you, I go, I'm ready to go 2 or 3 hours. You're like, no, we got to go like half hour, 20 minutes. I go, are you kidding me? That's not even barely scratching the surface.
Yeah, I mean, but just in the idea, because you think about it, you're like, and you're just kind of randomly just talking to people for like 2 hours. Like you said, that's not real common. You know what I mean? So it just the first few ones was just like,
well,
wow.
it also it speaks to the podcast. I think it speaks to us as podcasters and making them feel comfortable. And then the topic, people love speaking about their testimony.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's what it is. I think truly, like you're saying before, people want their story told.
Yeah,
and you know, and I think what it is too, there's people that I've shared the concept with who are super excited, and then I ask them, you know, do you want to do it? And they're real like, I don't know if I really want to do it. You know, and I think that's
get a little shy.
Yeah, and
that's to be expected,
which is fine. But because some of those people, when they talk to you, like, no one wants to hear my story. You know what I mean? Like, we're at the Huxford's house, and like the sister Nay, and so it was like, no one has to hear my story. I'm like,
are you kidding me?
Like, yeah, they do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
I mean, it doesn't have to be like this. You know.
Yeah, you don't got to tell us everything. You know?
didn't have to survive. You know, Vietnam.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
yeah, you don't have to tell any of those war stories.
Yeah,
you know?
do all this stuff. I mean, even though Brother Huxford did, which is
which is way cool. I know. I was like, this is the nitty gritty.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's just the concept of just people's stories of what makes them, but also sharing their testimony of the gospel.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like people's take on the second coming too. Hearing that far, or so far, anyways.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what it is. And sometimes we can change the question of like, you know, to other things as well in terms of like some gospel principle.
Yeah.
But you know, I really do. I'm like, okay, what do you think? You know, what's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? Or
right.
Your take on that, and I think that's important too. To at least bring up a couple of gospel topics. But I think it's too your favorite scriptures.
You know, you talk about being appropriate, inappropriate. In my mind, you know, I want to go, have you ever said a curse word, Brother Huxford? Have you ever said a curse word before? You don't want to know that, but I don't know if other people want to know that, or he wants people to know that.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
no. No, but his story's really cool.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
The other thing too, I wanted to point out, which I liked more of doing this again, was telling people that they can capture their audio of them on the podcast and kind of sort of link it to their profile in Family Search for their family history as like a little.
Yeah.
There's video files you can add, audio files you can add to it.
That'd be
So
cool.
other people around the world that are related, they
Yeah.
can just be like, "Oh, what? My family was on a podcast. I can listen to it." And then, not where to get a lot of viewership that way, but that's another way to
That's really interesting.
have us go
actually.
internationally.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I wonder if John's thought about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something
But I know because when I was doing some of my stuff and I was adding Amber to it and you can add photos, and I go, oh wow. And then I went to some of my old ancestors and there was like newspaper clippings that people added, and you can do that. But there's also a section for media and different media you can add, like their voice or a recording. And I think I had an old recording from a cell phone of my mother-in-law's birthday at Buffalo Wild Wings. She loved going there, so I kind of attached that to one of her thing on her family file there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't even really, because I didn't even really contemplate that. That'd actually be a real cool thing for people to be able to do.
And I've tried to tell people this is for your posterity, but I don't know that people really understood it when I just said posterity. They're like, what do you mean? But like something that your family can have. It's digital. It's gonna last pretty much forever. If we publish it out there, it lasts until things kind of.
And I think that's what I do. Figure out how to kind of put it all
broadcast
together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, look at all these in the Mormon or the Monmouth, ward.
Sure.
Like, okay, here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if the content was enjoyable and it's something that people like do, I mean, heck, you could do people in the West Salem. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Hey, maybe your ward would like to.
Yeah.
Do this, and
it could be something that maybe the state kind of goes, hey, maybe we want to interview some people.
That'd be kind of cool and interesting.
And we're not trying to get the dirt on anybody, really. It's just I want to know what's your testimony? How'd you find the gospel? Or like it was cool. People go, yeah, we grew up. I'm like, how many generations was LDS? Like, holy heck.
Yeah, and if we do find a little dirt, I mean,
you
might TMZ pay a little money.
Yeah,
no,
that's some good dirt.
This is a real good dirt.
You heard of letter number 7. We got letter number 9.
No, but that too, and I like some of the. I mean, when you're talking about I really like enjoying hearing people's answers to like their favorite cartoon or favorite movie and. No spoiler alert, but like the one Allison said her favorite movie is like you just don't think of Allison and then like
right
that being like her favorite
totally
one of her favorite movies. You're like,
yeah,
that's so out the left field. Haven, you don't want us to succeed.
Yeah, play on your rose colored. Never mind.
Yeah, you don't want us to succeed, Haven. That's what it is. You know what? We're gonna overcome it despite you. You're gonna be our muse.
We've been through worse before.
Yeah, we were both in Nam. You think?
Yeah, Nam.
You think this?
Nam of your business.
Yeah. Yeah. You think that? You think you can stop us? I don't think so. The world's tried.
Yep.
Come out on top, or on bottom. I don't know which one. Depending on the day, it's both. I don't even know where we were. Cartoons and movies, I think, was the...
Yeah, we were. We both liked the same cartoons, pretty much. I think that's 'cause there wasn't really that many like there are now. There's so many. You can't even keep track of all the cartoons.
There was actually quite a... So that's why I did want to, at some point in time, do a podcast on random cartoons.
Absolutely, we should. Some random ones.
Cartoons, because there was a lot of cartoons that you just don't ever think about. I'm like... And then I'll see a little blip with something. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
that
I think you mentioned the Snorks the other day or whatever.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I think I remember saying it was like an offshoot of the Smurfs, and I was like, oh, this is same writing. It seems like.
I enjoyed it though.
Yeah.
I will say I do remember that and enjoyed that. But yeah, there was it not Silverhawk? I can't remember what it was, but it was just like this episode about drug abuse. Like this, like one of the kids I think almost died or ends up dying. Like in
wow.
this 80s cartoon. It was like, oh, this is real, man. They just kept it 100.
Did you ever get into Star Trek?
No,
No, none of that. I've only watched one episode, and it's my favorite episode, and that's the only episode I've ever watched. So.
that one episode just happened to be your favorite episode.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, how would you know if you didn't watch the other episodes?
Because I've tried watching The Borg, and I just couldn't get into it. I've tried to start other ones, and I just couldn't get into it. But this episode, Next Generation, is called The Inner Light. It's
Yeah.
really, really good. Yeah, it's about
A new one? Is that what you
Picard. He kind of like, he has like he faints and has like an episode, but then in his mind, he's taken back to another area, and he lives out his days till his death there on this other planet.
Yeah.
And teaches these people how to, how to do water irrigation or something like that. So, and then when he dies, he comes back into the ship, but he has his experience.
Wow.
So
That sounds real exciting, David.
it was. There's a lot more to it.
Is that
but
a new episode?
It's a really, listen, I kind of brushed over some of the parts, but it's really hard.
no,
pull
I know,
string
but is this a new?
No, it's
episode,
just the
or-
next, it's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years old. It's the Next Generation. It's called The Inner Light, if anybody want to look it up.
I can't.
I recommend it.
Never could. Never
Um,
could get. I never got into that. I don't-
We'll have to have an episode where we watch it.
The only thing is I remember it like, back when I was younger in my teens and stuff like that, and late on at night, you know what I mean? There's just certain things that came on, and Star Trek was.
Oh,
like one of
yeah, I
those
never
things.
watched. Me
Like
too.
the
I'm
reruns would come on.
Next.
Like the reruns would come on, but there's nothing else but that,
Yeah.
or like maybe some news or like infomercials,
Yeah.
or like Xena, Warrior Princess, or Hercules. So it was just like, I guess I'm gonna go to sleep in Star Trek today.
Well, I did grow up in the church, so our parents pretty much let us watch, not whatever, but, they were more lenient as far as the programming that we were able to watch. Like
Yeah.
In Living Color, and
Well, yeah.
SNL, we stayed up for that sometimes.
So in terms of that, like, I guess we have certain questions that we send out to each of the people.
Yeah.
This is for anybody who's willing and wants to.
Come on
for
the
this.
podcast.
We'll just send out questions. Try to do it a week before, and then we'd like to, in that intro, we also get back from you your family recipe.
Yep, family recipe. Yep.
To go over that sort of thing. But some of the questions are, they're just like, about you personally and about your spiritual journey. But in terms of that, I guess, David, do you want to tell a little bit about your,
Spiritual journey.
just a little bit about
Yeah, I
it?
didn't really have one a lot growing up.
A little
Sometimes
teaser for
let's see. I kind of went to church a couple times growing up with my grandparents in California, but it was very rare because my parents never wanted to go, or they just never cared. Anytime we ever went, it was with a friend or a girlfriend. So went a couple times when I was younger with friends, but really didn't go. And then when I had a girlfriend, they went to church, so she would invite me with them, and they just went to, I don't know, just a non-denominational.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really until I moved up to Oregon, really, that I had influence in the church, where I just had people in my class were LDS. Maybe I went on a date one time with an LDS girl.
Did she know it?
What?
Did she know that you were on a date?
Well, I sat next to her in the movie theater, so we just have.
I claim that as a
Yeah.
date.
I dropped some of my popcorn on her, so I just count that as she ate popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she knew, but it didn't work out because I wasn't in an LDS mindset then, so I just think she just thought it wasn't going to be something. And then in college and stuff, you meet people, and then you just end up joining the church. I met Amber, and she kind of was like, "Why do you talk like that? Why do you curse so much, or why. And I think she may have a little bit of rebellious streak then too at the time. So,
Yeah.
so it was a little bit of combination of like, who is this innocent girl here? And then she was like, who is this bad boy here? So,
Who the bad?
yeah.
Who the bad boy?
But I think one time we were on a date. One time I think she read the Joseph Smith story
Mm-hmm.
to me. That was kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's good. And then the more and more I started to like her, and I kind of go, well, this is kind of something special here,
Yeah.
And so try to take it more serious. And then I think eventually one day I was like, hey, I think I want to take the discussions. I had a dream, kind of have an impression. So took the discussions, and the guys were cool. Those guys actually, like one of the guy missionaries, elders, he had a tattoo. I was like, whoa. And then I started to think, oh, like, this isn't like what I thought it was,
Yeah.
When they say all are welcome, I didn't really understand that until later. I got baptized and stayed around Corvallis area, and that was it. And we got married after that, and then I think after I got baptized, I was like, hey, how do you get one of those name tags? Because I was like, how do you get name tags? It said elder this, elder that. But they were like,
you have to permanently change your name.
They were
first name to elder.
yeah, they were ward missionaries at the time. So I eventually ended up becoming ward missionary, which was pretty good, and taught a lot of classes. And I held a lot of different offices in the ward and stake and stuff. It's been really educational and really faith building and stuff, and being able, even teaching the classes. And I think I taught like a marriage and family class, which was nice. I taught Sunday school, filled in for Sunday school sometimes for people. So when you have to spend all week preparing for a lesson, you really try to, I wanted to do well too. I wanted to be like, yeah, I actually know stuff, or I believe this, or I've always like, did you know? Or I try to look
Look smarter, like
yeah, but it's just you really can't. The gospel is the gospel, and you don't have to like fluff it up. It's just present it how it is, and it speaks for itself. So
I actually have a hard time with that part. Like there's just stuff that I find super interesting. Then I sound like I'm some pompous guy. Like and I don't ever try to be, and I don't want to be, but I just sometimes I'm sure that it comes off like.
Well,
I'm like, actually,
consequently,
this is where they're playing.
As a matter of fact, it was the other grove.
Yeah, and I always just like when I'd hear people talk like that, I was like, oh, come on, man. But then I find myself doing that now.
Right.
Like, gosh,
well, now I find it interesting. I'm like, when you say or somebody pipes up with some type of factoid, I'm like, wow, I want to know. I'll put it in my phone, like something to research later, Yeah.
But, well, I do find myself, and I'm like, God, why did you sound like such a... It's just so ridiculous. So,
but I have my journey in the church has been really enjoyable. It's been eye-opening. Definitely.
Clearly not done.
No, clearly not done, but, I've gained wisdom, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a scriptorian. I don't. I know you know a lot more about the scriptures because you actually served a mission more than I did. But, and that's no excuse. But I'm just saying, in the podcast, you'll probably notice that you speak a little bit more on that, a little bit better.
Well, and I think we had a discussion about that too, and I think the idea is that, again, because I don't want to sound like that too, but also. You still have opinions. All right. Feelings and emotions on those.
There are people on my level in the church as well,
Yeah, and that was the cool thing when we did, John. I mean, he's just like, I'm not a scriptorian, else, but you know what? I mean,
this is what I know. That's what I love about that.
He's been in the gospel for a long time. He's been.
The other thing is they're not trying to like change the meaning. Like we all kind of have an understanding of what meanings are for certain scriptures or even concepts in the gospel.
Yeah. I mean,
and we can talk about
certainly
that.
It's just about the basics, but also, we're each at different levels in terms of our progression, and so there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
it's just about. That's why it's called Faith Odyssey. I mean,
sure.
There's nothing wrong with the as long as it's a progression, as opposed to, you're just sitting idle.
And the other thing too is like we don't want our favorite people, like our only people we like. I want everybody. I want to know.
Well,
even people I don't really talk to that much.
And that's going to be somehow figured out because and you're absolutely correct. I don't want people to feel like, oh yeah, well, why am I like 100th person while they're interviewing or anything like that?
It's just how we got to it.
I think that ideally, it's about trying to get some of the older generation first.
Absolutely,
right? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because life continues moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then beyond that, it's about, we just kind of randomly put names together and then people's availability.
Sure. And I think also just in conversation, talking about it, and then we just go, well, you're available. We can do it now, and then it just kind of, it just, naturally happens that way. But
and I think too, if anybody is watching this or did watch, it's like, hey, if you want to do it, approach up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come ask me. If you want to do it.
Yeah.
And ask David.
I'm always down. I'm always ready to record. I've been wanting to do this for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did it once before. I didn't really go too well. I think Brother McAllister and I have a video on YouTube, a couple that we did. It didn't kind of go anywhere, but that is a great story too. Brother McAllister.
Yeah.
I was his home teacher. I didn't even realize that he was famous in the church.
Oh
yeah. I'm like, he had just got married. I'm like, what? Okay. And then I was cleaning the room, my father-in-law, and he had like an Ensign magazine, and there he is on the cover.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the heck is this? It was cool.
Yeah. I mean, and we do have somewhat similar stories, I guess, background-wise. I mean, I grew up.
Yeah, tell us about yours.
Technically in the church in terms of, things. But certainly there wasn't a lot of going and a lot of that stuff. And family dynamic was a lot different. I mean, it's just weird in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
My mom was married lots of times. So it just, she had, I don't know. I mean, she just had emotional problems, whatever it may be. But she had 3 kids by the time she was 19.
Oh my!
So there was some psychological,
sure. Some people aren't ready for it.
Yeah, it goes along with all that, and for just some things, were difficult in terms of, when I was younger and stuff like that. We had a lot of the luxury, things like with life in terms of nice stuff and things like that. But I mean, that can only make up so much for like a lack of morals and lack of lack of just emotional connection throughout life. So it's just to this date, my mom passed away, I don't know, probably 8 years ago or so, and my brother passed away last year. And I just my sister's been, her fiance passed away, and her she has her struggles, and I just I think as life kind of progressed, there was moment of time I started school when I was in northern Idaho, then moved to Boise and went to high school for a couple of years, and then moved to Utah and Pleasant Grove and went to high school and graduated there.
What was your major?
In high school?
Yeah.
In high school?
General studies?
Major.
Okay.
It was make it to school and not try to be a 4-year senior.
Jeez.
So, no.
How many schools did you have?
Just
oh, I see.
Yeah, I went to 3 different high schools.
3, okay, yeah.
3 different states.
Jeez.
So to be 100%, like I loved it actually. Like I loved where I grew up at. I would move back there tomorrow, but I went up to Boise. One of my best friends who would go and visit all the time. Was my friend there. We just we had a great time.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Utah. I was a little upset because I had to leave a girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to high school girlfriend.
Yeah. Shout out wherever you are.
Wherever you are. Don't listen to this, Arif. But
still a heartbreaker.
But after the summer there, I had a great time too.
Yeah.
So that's always been one of the things that I've actually really appreciated, is like I just I was able to enjoy myself.
Yeah, make the most of it. Yeah.
So a lot of people would be very depressing, but I will say, so like I went to Pleasant Grove, and then my mom moved to Salt Lake, like in between my junior and senior year, and I'm like, I'm not moving with you. I just like I'm not going to like a 4th high school.
That's
I'm
it.
just-
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so that's how I ended up. She got divorced again, and I actually lived with her ex-husband
Wow.
at his house. And then, that process, then he moved on with his life and got remarried, and so I ended up in my car.
Yeah.
And just clearly not going to the church. Clearly not, I was more of like, how am I survive?
Yeah,
how,
you're
to
just-
how
yeah.
to survive life in of itself. And then, school, graduated, I started working, and I broke my leg and at work doing, and then I was
Showing
in my
off.
car, and no, but then I literally had nowhere to go.
You're just
I'm
yeah.
just in my vehicle. I'm with a broken leg, and
Dang.
so I couldn't drive the car.
Yeah.
And I had some good friends who let me stay at their house while I kind of healed, and then I moved to another house, and
Mhm.
then to another another house, and but Corey, good buddy of mine, he let me stay at his house, and he was getting ready to go on a mission, and he let me stay on the weekend, and then he was getting ready to go on a mission, and he's just like because I had a bunch of piercings and stuff like that, and for some reason his parents just allowed me to stay.
Wow.
They just
Took a chance.
yeah, and slowly over the months my piercings came out, and just
Yeah.
started going to church with them, and they gave me the one thing that I never really had was a curfew. And a purpose
Right.
to like, because I could be gone for days without end and no one would even know. You know what I mean? It just gave me purpose to, like, because you always, when you get put in that, it's like a cage or whatever else, you're
Yeah.
like, well, you're keeping me in here. But then you like realize, actually you're doing it because they care about me.
Yeah.
And then things just start to change.
Sure.
And
Wrangling your free spirit.
Yeah, and fundamentally who you are. And I've always known the church was true.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was younger, I just kind of knew. It was just like, but I didn't really have like my life set to
Yeah.
where it was, easy to just when you don't have any other stuff life set, it's hard to like compartmentalize, put yourself in that. So, and then it was a year later that I left on my mission, and so it's just, and they are some of the greatest people in the world. Kevin and Kelly are just shout out to Kevin and Kelly Price.
Yeah.
In,
Were you ready when you
in
went?
Linden, Utah.
Were you ready when you went on your mission?
No, of
Do you
course
feel prepared?
not.
No. Yeah.
No, not
Yeah.
even, because I didn't have, like what you feel sometimes, I didn't have the scriptural knowledge of this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I just, it was just, all of a sudden it was a desire. Like, what I did know, like I was saying, I just knew it was true.
Yeah.
Like, I always knew it was true.
Sure.
And so that part I was prepared, because I could go out there, and it didn't take me very long. Like, it was every day I just put myself into the mission, and memorized as much as I possibly could. And then I think it was actually really helpful, because you'd come to some, be with some other missionaries who were super rigid about,
Yeah.
they just like grow up in the church, just like,
Jeez.
from Gunnison, Utah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like some robot of like, and, just, yeah, just like
Scripture
looking
time.
over the lessons, like, and just regurgitated, blah, blah, blah. And where I just had heartfelt conversations with people.
Yeah,
about,
I
like,
appreciate
hey, man,
that.
you know what I mean? Like, high school was, like this stuff, I did things I shouldn't have, you know what I mean? In
Yeah.
terms of things that, and, so it was cool in that regard. So then I got home, I got off my mission, which I came to Oregon on my mission. But I got back to Utah, and I had nowhere to live. And so I hopped on a semi truck and got my way back to Oregon. A family in my last ward that I served in my mission in Salem, he offered me a job
Jeez.
to make prosthetics and orthotics, and they let me live at their house for a while, and until I got my
Sure.
and then Arav and I met. And
You should put it. Results may vary. Not
Yeah.
all LDS families will take
Yeah.
in return missionaries.
I'm just thinking. I'm like, well, because they were like the third one that took me in too. So it's like, I'm just trying to recount like how many houses I stayed
Yeah.
at, like for people that took me into, and so I fondly remember these people and like their willingness to do
Yeah,
it, and I'm
that's
just
great.
so appreciative of it and that's why it's cool when it's like, okay, well, Erin and I have been married 22 years now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and all these events, and sometimes you can let those things like define you,
Sure.
or you can make them so that they change you, and I just knew that I love my mom for who she was, but I knew that I didn't ever want to be like that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't ever want to be a person who used other people and
Mm-hmm.
then like divorced them and like six,
Yeah.
7 times.
Yeah.
And so I just that's kind of where where I've gotten, I'm like, okay, well, I'm dedicated to this.
Sure.
And that's like I said, 22 years later.
Yeah, the will is strong. People's will,
Yeah.
you kind of go, that's what they want to do with their
Yeah.
lives, I choose this,
Yeah, and so I'm super grateful. And
Yeah.
as I've gotten further along in it, I fundamentally I just love the church history.
I love all of it.
I mean, just like I'm talking about, like Joseph Smith and the stuff in the church history, all that stuff, the Book of Mormon history, all that. I love.
It's
I
fascinating,
like it
yeah.
all. I mean, and
There's that part, and also I've told people too that I've been involved in spiritual things in the church that make it so that I just can't say that it's not true. I've been
Yeah.
involved in certain spiritual situations, either blessings or even in the temple, and just living normal LDS life or being around people, and I just know that it's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
I look back on it. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, and I think I got a lot of my learning from the teaching,
Yeah.
because you have to learn it to teach it, and really just serving. I think I served a ward mission and stake mission, or stake and then ward, however it was, but it was over 10 years, probably maybe close to 11, 12 years. Yeah.
That's cool.
And so we tracked this whole area here, and back when like Heath was like 12, 13 years old, 14. I mean, it was.
He still looks that way.
He does, yeah.
Shout out to Heath.
Shout out to Heath.
You look like you're 13.
Yeah, Brother Spittler. But just going out.
Yeah.
I didn't have any children then, so I was always free and available Tuesdays and Thursdays, or whatever, Wednesdays, even on a Saturday. We'd go out and just split up, and you just go out there and you just knock on doors. So I got that experience,
Yeah.
But I was married also at the time, so I was kind
You got
of
the best of both.
I got the best. I could be married and serve a mission. Ha ha.
Cha-ching.
Losers.
No, and it's been really cool because our oldest Brogan, like he got to, he has his things medical wise and stuff like that. So, but being able to serve, for a year as a service missionary,
Sure.
here from home and stuff like that.
It's
been
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, the opportunities that the church provides for people to still want to fulfill their obligations, or if they still want to serve in any way. So I'm glad I was able. I still say that I served a mission, but it's kind of not like.
Yeah.
But still, it's not like I just was willy-nilly. We still had to do scripture study. We still had prayer. You actually go and visit people in the ward, and a lot of times they were inactive or had issues like health issues, and so you had to go and see and just provide a report for either a mission president or a bishop if there was needs that were there. So it was really cool to be able to be on that part where you're assessing spiritual needs of a home, and then praying about it, and even before and after, and then checking back in even afterwards to make sure that their needs were met and how their experience, and you just kind of develop.
And clearly that can be
friendships.
hugely and maybe even more impactful. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Because it's your home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, and you're trying to get people that are, that have left back into the fellowship of the gospel. So yeah, it's cool. Like I will say I do wish that Brogan had that opportunity where he had to go somewhere. You know what I mean? Because there's no substitute for that. It's just It's just really an interesting, experience
Yeah.
that you just can't substitute, because it's like, okay, well, for 2 years you're not watching any movies, you don't watch
Right.
any TV, you're not
Having
exposed,
zero influence.
exposed
Yeah.
to any of that, so
Yeah.
you can just really put your whole heart into the gospel and to
Mhm.
Jesus, to the Savior and stuff. So, but like you said, being a ward missionary and stuff like that, like you're serving the people in the place where you live,
Yeah.
and so you're trying to fellowship people back into, and I think there's, it's wonderful to see people who aren't exposed to the gospel and then become exposed and join the church. But I think it's even more beautiful when people who have strayed away and then come back to the church.
Yeah.
Because there's so much on the line of covenants and things that you partook of.
Sure.
That coming back is just, and that's why the prodigal son is such a wonderful,
Mhm.
is what it is, because you just like coming back to the fold is so. And when you talk about the Savior, like he seeks the one.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's just a cool opportunity to be able to do that. And I at least appreciate, okay, you can recognize the value of being a ward missionary.
Sure.
Because I think people a lot of times get called a ward missionary, just they're not excited about it.
Right.
And other than they're excited, like I don't really have to do anything.
Right. Yeah. Like,
You
wow.
know? I don't have to do much. But,
What was good though is I was young enough, early on in the marriage, still to where those guys, or the missionaries that would come out full time, we were almost peers. Almost.
Yeah.
I may have been maybe a few years older than them
Yeah.
at the time, so it still was kind of. I would if I would have served an actual full time, would have been one of those older missionaries,
Yeah.
that are in different missions out there. Like this
That's
guy's 35.
So what? A couple more questions here, but
Yeah.
what's your favorite movie then, David?
Oh man,
Is it Lake Placid?
yeah, it is like that.
I knew it.
How did you know?
The
Called it.
giant alligator,
Dude, that was
Oliver
crazy.
Platt.
Betty White's in that one.
She's the one
I
feeding
love-
that
I
alligator.
love that. So funny.
He even loves Betty
She
White.
treats
now
it like it's
feeding that alligator,
like you treat dude.
like Lake Placid, and then she feeds that alligator. The old lady, the cows. She's feeding the alligator. Feeding the alligator cows, which
Yeah.
makes it like 40 feet. That is Aphid over there.
Well, then you find out later, like I found out just a few years ago, that alligators they're never they have
They
no
can
predator.
continue to grow,
They continue to
yeah.
grow huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge. No, you don't.
Huge.
No. So is your favorite movie? Is that what?
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh, you like the sequel? Oh, Anaconda. That was your favorite movie. Jennifer J-Lo and that old Anaconda movie.
There's a few movies. I've always liked this movie called. It's an older Robert Downey Jr. movie, and Sam O'Neill's in it. The guy from Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
It's called Restoration. It takes place in the Victorian era, and it's about this guy named Robert Marivelle, who's Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and he goes through these series of kind of like a prodigal son kind of situation, but just he's given this gift of being a doctor, and he just kind of doesn't really use it as well as he should, and so it's just a reminder to me that Heavenly Father grants us talents, and sometimes we it's a cool talent to have certain things, and you just don't use them properly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just use them for your own self gain, and so there's that one. And then I like all the Jurassic Parks. I like all the
Hold on.
well, not all of them.
All the
No,
Jurassic
not all of them.
Parks.
But I will watch them just because just to kind of make fun of the animatronics or the special effects.
Well, not the first one though.
No, the first one's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean the other two didn't have as big as a budget. They were like 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
The original.
Yeah. I did watch this movie called The Invention of Lying. You ever seen that?
Mhm.
It's with who's the guy that did The Office, Europe or British Office?
Oh, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
maybe?
Gervais is in it. So he's in that, and you're just in a town where people just tell each other the truth. all the
Actually, no,
time.
I think I have seen it. Now
Yeah,
that
and
you
then one day
mention
he
it.
just invents a lie, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting take on that.
Yeah.
Because he ends up inventing the scriptures basically for people. God said this and that, and I told him, and I'm like, it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I can see how some people, maybe in a congregation, could do that and then get a following of people. But I know at least in the church, it's all we consult higher power. What about you? What are your movies? I have a lot of movies, honestly.
I mean,
There's so many
but,
movies. Yeah, I like a lot.
Idiocracy. Was
That's a good one.
No,
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I don't like that movie at all.
I like the guy. His attorney is Rico Pendejo, Rich Dumb.
Yeah. I don't like that one because
Yeah,
but it's such a hard question, and so I get that's why it's like you send it out a week before because you got to kind of really evaluate like a lot because it's like the genres of everything makes it difficult.
Yeah,
it's like okay, well, maybe
I just
have
like
some
movies.
But we have some in this one and some in this one.
Yeah,
I will say there are some movies that come on that I just can watch all the time, and some I'm not going to mention, but I love the Bourne Identity.
Oh yeah, those are good.
The whole series.
Those are shot really well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just I find spy movies fascinating.
Yeah, I like those a lot. Yeah.
But I love Maverick. I don't know if you ever saw that with
the card
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a really
Just love that movie.
From beginning to end. Yeah.
Everything about it. His character is fantastic, and I love more modern cowboy movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy some of the old, like Clint Eastwood and some John Wayne, but that's not really my like. I'm kind of a
different time
snob in terms of like modern movies as opposed to older. older, but I never was really into Star Wars or Star Trek.
None of those, sci-fi stuff. This is fine.
What?
Lord of the Rings.
I do like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
entertaining. Lord of the Rings.
Like you say that like that's a bad thing, Haven, but Lord of the Rings, like especially when they came out, were some of the most popular movies ever created.
Sure.
So you can do that all you want. I mean, and I like Harry Potter movies too. So
yeah.
I
watch them as a movie, but I don't memorize any of the stuff. Or any of the Muggle. I don't know any of that or the Butterbeer or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I like Forrest Gump.
That's a good one.
Don't like that movie like that. Yeah, I like that movie. So
oh jeez. Although I that was the first movie I saw where they digitally impose like presidents saying stuff that they never said.
Oh yeah.
You're like, what the heck? They can do that? Yeah. They can make a president say something he never did?
Yeah, unfortunately, I like violent movies. So
yeah, those are, I do.
I do. Rush Hour.
The Rush Hour ones, yeah.
I love those ones.
Chris Tucker's funny.
Yeah. Gefilte fish. Gefilte fish.
Gefilke. Like in the end, he's like, I always wanted to go to Martin or something.
Yeah, the Madison Square Garden.
He can't say Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
At the end of Rush Hour, there's outtakes.
He's on Lee. Come on.
Come on, Lee.
Yeah, I mean comedy, like even Jackie Chan. I mean, I love Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah,
Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights.
Those are great.
Owen Wilson.
Yeah,
fantastic. I'm just his ones with other people are great.
I like Shanghai Noon because that's where I first was introduced to Walton Goggins.
Oh
yeah. And I just like his personality in there. He's just really just like it's my train or whatever. He's just really out and boisterous.
Yeah, I mean, and I was like, where'd you find this guy? Then he ends up taking over. So I just I mean, I love Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
so,
those are really good.
I'm willing to sacrifice his body for all that.
Oh man, I know, dude. I've seen some of his actual Chinese karate movies, the ones that are dubbed. Those are good too.
Yeah, I made Tide watch one where he's in New York.
Oh yes,
so bad. I've made Tide watch and Brogan watch like a bunch of these 80s movies, and they all like New York is in all of them, like with Jean-Claude Van Damme, like all these New Yorks like in all of them, and so Tide has this like warped view of like what New York was like back in the 80s because it's all so different too, but it's all like these different groups of people that just
Right.
exist in New York
Yeah,
at
you're
some
like,
point in time.
what
And
the heck?
there's like apparently like fights every night of group fighting,
Jeez.
but different parts, some dancing going, dance offs going off. It's just like it's like. What the is this? What's going on in New York, man? So
The heck?
yeah, so it's just kind of funny in terms of we're on that kick now for
Yeah.
80s movies. 80s
like that
movies
one.
at the moment. Forcing my kids to watch them. Which is fantastic. Like Short Circuit is phenomenal.
Yeah, Short Circuit. Yeah.
Some of these movies that you watch back then and you're like, that is not gonna hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Some occasionally something like Short Circuit does really.
Yeah,
like,
it does. Yeah.
They say some hilarious things that I'm like, and of course, Back to the Future is
Yeah, I've watched a lot of the Back to the Future.
Haven.
You don't like them?
Hate fact.
Oh. Yeah.
I said the word wrong. I meant Back to the Future.
Oh, thanks. Good. I'm glad you clarified that for us.
Those movies.
The DeLorean.
Especially
Hello.
The second one.
There is nothing wrong with the
With
second
the future?
one. Okay.
Yeah, when they're in the
There's
future.
nothing wrong with the second one.
Like that guy, the old guy goes back to
Oh yeah.
Okay.
back
What's
to
your
the past.
what's your problem?
I hate him.
No.
You
Okay,
hate
good.
Ruined the movie.
you
Tom
hate
Wilson?
Biff?
Yeah, dude, Tom Wilson's good.
How do you hate Biff? You're
I thought he was a member for a long time.
Who's
Yeah.
Biff?
That's the bad guy.
He's a comedian. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I hate those movies. I hate them so much.
You're a ridiculous person. You know that right now.
I used to always go, say hi to your mom for me.
Did you make like a tree and get the heck out of here?
Get the heck out.
I just and those actually they hold up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Even the technology is a little bit different, but
I don't know what you're trying to indicate back there, young
What?
lady.
throwing up gang signs.
Yeah, young lady. How dare you? She's trying to tell us to wrap it up.
Oh,
today.
wrap it
Can you
up.
Believe that?
Dude, we can go on for hours,
I
honestly.
know. What's your problem?
That's the whole point of this.
I guess she does have stuff to
All right.
get.
I have John Wick to watch. Okay.
John
No, you
Wick.
don't. Knock it off. Yeah.
She's an adult. She can watch John Wick, I guess.
Yeah.
No, she can only watch it when it's on TV.
Oh. On TNT.
Yeah.
Dubbed. Or the
TNT.
to take out all the curse words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They take away all the fighting.
Yeah.
yeah. It's
All the fighting.
it's
Yeah.
just keep walking through, and then it's end. Yeah.
No, it's been enjoyable.
We'll edit that in post.
Yeah, we'll edit and post. No, I like this podcast. I like where we're going. I hope people follow us with us. Follow us on our social medias and subscribe to all of our things that we have.
Yeah, we're waiting for Haven to set them all up for us.
Yeah, we'll set them up and then people can like them and follow and
Yeah.
follow us along. I think it's going to be a great journey. I mean, I foresee us going on for quite a while.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I would like to get some live ones that people.
Yeah, those would be great.
People can just
I think-
interject, ask a question to somebody who's getting interviewed that they might want to know about.
Sure.
I think that'd be kind of interesting and cool, and just to interact in terms of that. And
I was going to ask you, did you ever watch do you watch cartoons now as an adult? Like, you ever watch any of those? No.
Yeah.
no,
I watched
they made me
some-
watch Invader Zim the other day.
Oh, that's a funny one.
They
that's
made her
a
watch.
funny one.
Made me watch the movie.
I watched
So,
Regular Show. You ever watch Regular Show? It's hilarious. That's a good one.
I just I'm just not a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
person.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in the '80s, and but then that reached its pinnacle, and then it just like after that, I'm like, yeah.
Oh man, I
Cartoons are-
love.
And I'm not anime. I don't like anime.
Oh, dude, I love anime.
Fight me! I don't like anime.
I went to an anime
Anybody-
convention
is any-
actually.
Is anybody who wants to?
Sakura-kan.
I don't like comic books either.
Dang, dude.
You collect them.
No, we go places and I buy some just for.
I stopped.
I just like I look through a bunch of them. Some kind of look like cool and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I buy them because it's fun to do with
Sure.
Rogan and stuff. So,
Yeah.
But if they were all gone, I would.
Oh,
would
I used
be
to
a-
read
would be
them
a-
back in the day. I stopped watching The Walking Dead because I read the comic book and it went way different than the
Yeah.
live action. I was like, this is not in the comic book, and I stopped. I go, this is stupid. So I
Oh, we didn't
stopped-
take liberties.
Yeah, Negan didn't do that. No, I'm joking.
I guess we started actually. So we went to Utah a couple years ago, and then my my grandma she had 4 kids. But 3 of them are passed away.
Sure.
And so 2 of them, she had twins, and one of them was a movie critic. My uncle was a movie critic for the Salt Lake Tribune. And which is kind of cool. But they were both nerds.
Yeah.
Big into like stuff like Star Trek, but they're big into sports too. It's kind of funny, but they're super nerdy. But
Sure.
So one was a movie critic, had a bunch of stuff, but they had massive comic book collection.
Wow.
And they got rid of a lot of them before we got there, but we ended up with.
I remember that stack was like.
Yeah, I mean, like
it was crazy.
Probably over 1,000 for sure.
Yeah.
And and so
there were boxes of them.
And the old ones, like 5-cent ones and stuff. And so we just kind of went through all of them because we told my grandma we wouldn't get rid of them. You know what I mean, in terms of that, and so we just.
What she don't know won't hurt. Sorry, Grandma.
So we still have them all, and now I just kind of buy some randomly that just kind of look cool, but I don't really care about. Comics, but a
lot of good artwork in those. A lot of good storylines, but
but like I said, cartoons aren't really my thing.
Yeah,
I don't. Anime is not my thing.
What is your thing, Beau? Jeez. Guns.
I don't really. Yes.
Yeah, I do like guns.
I love guns. No, I just
guns and funeral potatoes.
So I just. To be fair, I mean, we don't. I like watching movies with my family.
Sure. I like the $5. I'm so glad we do $5 movies.
Yeah, some people don't like. I love going to movie theaters.
I do too. What I also like is things supposed to come out Friday, but we get it here Thursday sometimes. I love that.
Yeah, you feel like you're cheating.
I do because I'm like, I'm gonna watch it Thursday and I'm gonna watch it Friday.
And I have nothing else going on in my life, so if I feel like I'm cheating, I feel really good about this.
I could be at the movie theater all the time.
No, well, there's a lot of movies that are ridiculous. So, but
this last week didn't have any good ones.
No.
So
but we like going to movies, but So that's just kind of a general
of us. Just wanted to give an introduction to us and who we are. That wasn't. There's more, I guess. We'll share on.
Yeah, there's lots
with
more,
the pod.
Haven's
with the
prompting
guests.
us that we need to.
Haven wants to go. So
our producer, extraordinaire director is.
Well, we get what we pay for. I guess
she's actually threatening us at the moment. So we're scared of her.
Yeah, she's gonna pour water all over the electronics.
4 foot tall and weighs 94.
Yeah,
she's 4 foot tall and weighs 90 pounds. But
90 pounds and nothing.
Yeah, she's real scary. So if David and I no longer exist,
you
know why.
You'll know. This is proof, evidence.
Yeah, we didn't do it. Haven is the culprit. So Haven Clark, 4 foot nothing.
Yeah.
Turning 19 in a few days.
Haven Evelyn Clark.
Yeah.
Haven Evelyn Clark.
Evelyn, that's your middle name, right?
Yeah.
Is that your
I like just making it. Haven Penelope Clark. Yeah. How dare you?
You guessed it right.
You got at least the A correct.
Haven A. Clark. Amara.
Hey.
That's what it is. Haven Amara Clark. Haven Amara Clark.
Stop.
You know what Amara means? Eternal. Eternal.
Eternal.
We're going to be together forever, Haven.
Ha ha.
Yep.
Ha ha.
Yep.
Ha ha ha.
You can't fight it. Can't fight it, lady. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that's us.
That's us.
Nutshell,
thanks for following us, and thanks for being fans of us. And we'll have merch out, I guess.
Please,
I don't know.
Please follow.
You're begging.
Please follow.
Please follow us. Follow him.
We have nothing else going on. This is like one of those, like back in the day, like marathon or
the Hurley boy,
or like what are they like? They're like
trying
to raise money.
The race, for feed the.
No, what are they? Thons? Like what is it? I can't remember. But
phone-a-thon? No, it's a raise like money-a-thon.
Yeah, something like
it's a marathon. Yeah.
Please subscribe.
Your donation of 5 cents a day will help feed Beau. He's a hungry.
$5 a day.
$5. He is.
With inflation now, $15 a day
geez.
Will help to feed me. If you want to help support my family,
that's so crazy though.
That's $15.75.
You get free food on your route all the time. You want people to send in money.
David?
Sorry.
I can't even.
He does
like,
not
you
get
just
free.
tell me I like it.
Cut that out.
How do you? I'm wasting away here, people. Can you not tell? So, if you want to support
him.
me and not David,
Yeah.
please.
He needs way more help than I do.
Please subscribe to this. Join us on our journey.
Join us. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Please.
That's it. Thank you.
What's something we can do to?
Signing off. I don't know.
Yeah, we have to figure that.
That's
out.
all, folks. I don't know. We can't really say that's all, folks. Is that copywritten?
Yeah, it's
Probably.
how dare you? But
Wow, we have to put that out now.
I know, but this generation, they don't even know who that. I could say that. They're probably like,
true.
"What? Did you invent that? Did you invent that's
Yeah.
all, folks?"
yeah, blip,
Yeah,
that's
bitty
all,
bop
folks.
buddy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right,
Cool. David and Beau out.
out.
Bro, do, 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 do. Come on. Do, do, do. Do, do. I'm zooming into Dad's face.
Knock it off.
Yeah, it really could go longer, honestly. I bought these extra capacity cards, so they hold.
Dad.
I gotta put this way. We could have been for 49
Dad.
Yeah, he was over there.
I got Matthew McConaughey to watch.
How'd you know?